Hey guys, welcome back to the True Podcast. And today we're going to be talking a bit about what's going on, what happened to my last video slash podcast. There was a bit of an issue with that, and what's going on, what's the deal, right? And also going to give you guys some true motivation, as that is a theme. So, where have I been? So I tend to have this bad issue, right, where I'll say, oh yeah, I've got a brand new upload schedule, it's going well, da 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 da. Here's my upload schedule, right? And I won't stick to it. It'll, mess up in the first hour. And then you won't see me for a month or two. However, I have a new upload schedule. I'm testing it out for a while. Tell me if you guys like it. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I want you guys to figure it out over time. So if you guys at the end of November have figured it out by then, I think you will. It's quite an easy one to figure out. But yeah, that gives you guys something to do. So, second thing was, what happened to my last one? So I recorded a podcast recently, and the issue with it was the audio. So the audio just sounded like someone was screaming into a microphone with water on it, and it was just like buzzing, sounded like a bee pretty much. And so I couldn't use that, obviously, because you guys don't want to hear that audio. If I wouldn't listen to it, I don't expect anyone else to. That's usually the way I go. So yeah, that had to be scrapped. Unfortunately, I have to record it today, which is alright because it means that what I was going to say in the second episode, I just get to say in this one. Sorry, what I was going to say in the first episode, I get to say in this one, which is all good. So, without further ado, let's get back into it. I don't know if I should leave a break or if I should just go into it. Anyway, right. So, the first thing I want to cover is, quite personal actually, is school life, right? So, for all you don't know, I live in England, if that wasn't obvious enough from my not so obvious British accent. I said British. So, in part of that, going to a British high school, there tend to be I don't know what word you use for it, but people will quite easily judge you, right? And so I do get judged, right, for doing the true motivation. Do I mind? Not at all. I absolutely love it, right? And I always have people come up to me and, they'll try and annoy me about it, but, whatever. People do them. I don't really mind. As long as it doesn't affect me, which it doesn't, because I think I've grown thick skin over the time. And I'm not here to moan, right? That's the last thing I want to do. However, I do want to say is that there's something quite interesting to take away from this. It's that this is a prime example of people making you feel you've done something wrong, even though you're not, even though you haven't, right? Feeling guilty for something you haven't done. And if I wasn't, who I am right now, and I wasn't able to, be happy with who I was, and be worried about what other people say, which is, stupid. I'm not saying everything everyone else says is stupid. I'm saying in this regard, yeah, sure. And I think what it shows you is that it's not about you at all. Whatever these people are saying isn't about you. It's about them, right? If someone comes up to you and gives you rubbish, says you're this, says you're that, that's showing about them, right? I know you hear people saying, "Oh, it's just showing there." Though I know you hear it a lot, but what's important is about listening to it and actually taking apart. Oh, okay, yeah, sure, that's valid. That's not. And I think if you really sort of listen, right? Really listen to what I just said. It shows about them. Yeah, you hear it, but do you actually listen to it? So every time you listen to one of my videos, or any advice in general, right? Positive advice, not negative advice. I want you to really listen, right? I want to visualize. I want you to put really sort of empathize into that situation. Or sympathize, depending if you've been there before. And I think what's so important about that is that in life, we tend to listen 50%, right? So someone could be talking to us about something, and yeah, we take away the key components. Like if I'm talking to a friend about, what I did this weekend, yeah, sure, he's going to listen to, the main things I did. He's going to hear about the cinema or whatever I did, right? But you don't really listen, which is obvious. We're not going to 100%, every second of our lives be listening out for, whatever. And we're not going to be always fully engaged. Because, we're human. We're human. We're not always entertaining ourselves in conversation 100%. However, by doing so, maybe try it once in your day. Make firm eye contact with someone and have a really engaged conversation. Maybe it's a partner, maybe it's a friend, maybe it's a parent, family, whoever. But just try it. I think it'll change your day. Because, I think back to conversations I've had with people where it's like, you know what, I'm really happy I spoke to them today. And you also hear people say, oh yeah, smile can change everything. Personally, I think it does. If you haven't noticed, my slogan for true motivation and true in general is keep smiling, right? And I love that. It's so simple, but it's also very effective. I know 3 people, maybe 3. Yeah, 3 people today that have gave me a smile, which has made my day better. And it's because of that, and I'm not saying better because it was bad, I'm saying better, better overall, right? And I think that's quite good because when you think about how your mood is, right? Your mood could be good, your mood could be bad. But when you think about how your mood is, right now, if you're in just that little smile from someone, right? Only you know how you feel, but only that little smile from someone, who could be a stranger, could be a friend, could be whoever, that could change your entire day. Because if it's like when you see people who are, I don't really know. I'm trying to think of an example. An example could be, you see someone picking up some litter, right? And then you think, I want to do that. I want to pick up some litter. And then that, it's a reoccurring effect. So if I smiled at a friend, and then a friend smiled at someone else, and so on, so on, so on, what's changed that is that, what's changed the area, or the community, or yourself in that, or the other person, a lot of people get infected by it, because seeing that people are happy, you think, you know what, I need to be happy. I know a lot of people, say, oh, it's not just that easy to be happy. And I've talked about this many times on the channel and the podcast in general, in that being happy is, it's a long-term thing, but it is a decision. We do decide if we're happy or sad. The hardest part sometimes is when you're in a rough state or a bad mood or whatever, and you pull yourself out of it. That is always the hardest. It is so difficult. Sometimes it takes an hour, sometimes it takes a second, other times it can take a week. It can take a week, it's been done. But having the ability to do that within an hour, or within a minute, or within a second, it only takes a second to change it, but the build up to that is what I think what people find the hardest, which is understandable. We're not all masters of our emotions, which I think is important, because I feel like if we control our emotions too much, I feel like we need to be sad sometimes. We need to have a bit of alone time. We need to, we need to get frustrated sometimes. It's part of life. However, sometimes, on the other hand, it's nice just to be able to zone yourself out of those negative moods, and really sort of appreciate the mood, some quietness, just enjoying the vibes. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's the best part about this podcast. It's chill. It's not stressed. Like no one's rushing around everywhere. So I do thank you guys for that. I love the support we get here. I really like it. The community is good. The people are nice. The people, but you guys are brilliant. You guys are so supportive. That's what I like about these podcasts. They're so good. And also, I speak fast. So, for me, I've just pretty much said what I was going to say in the entire hour in 8 minutes and 41 seconds. 42, 43. But, who knows? We might shorten it down a bit. But, however, I think if you guys enjoy the podcast over the videos, then this might become a bit of a podcast as opposed to a YouTube channel. However, you guys need to let me know. This is on you guys. So, I will ask you, please, could you put in the comments, open to everyone, if you're watching it right now, comment, podcast or videos, right? Or both, podcast or videos though. I am happy to do whatever you guys like. Personally, I love the podcast. I think they're brilliant. I like the videos, don't get me wrong, I love the videos, but there's something about the podcast where you just feel really connected to the audience and you guys, it's really nice. And my other thought about the podcast itself was actually getting some guests on it. I'm cool and all. I say that sarcastically, by the way. But I feel it would be interesting to get some stories from other people and, intercross motivation with people's stories. Whether it's someone who's pulled themselves out of a hard time, or business success, or success in sport, or whatever. And just really, decipher how these people how these people's minds work. I think that would be quite interesting. So if you guys would like to see that, also do let me know. If you want to DM me, my DMs are open. My Instagram is in the description of the video. Also, speaking of description of this video, I hate to do it halfway through. I have a GoFundMe there, which is open for. We're trying to raise £50,000, and the reason we're trying to raise that is because I am starting a tech company, which is basically going to help people with disabilities, access things easier. Whether it's opening a door electronically, it could be starting a coffee machine, that sort of stuff. But you can do it, help people with disabilities do that stuff, with more ease. Because I've seen it firsthand. That is, people do struggle. So if we can try and eliminate that with with the company and the business, that'll be absolutely amazing. It comes with this, dyslexia features, reading features, like opening doors and everything. So the whole thing in general, what we have planned, is absolutely brilliant. So if you guys would like to donate to that, that would be very much appreciated. Absolutely anything helps. Thank you to everyone who has donated so far. Oh, we got a text. Sorry, guys. But overall, I think that. Sorry, my chair's scraping against my desk. Overall, I think that, all the support we've had for that project and other projects alongside is absolutely brilliant. So thank you all for the support and the donations. It really does mean a lot. Whew. So, moving on to the next thing. See, I wasn't sure if I'll bring this up in this video. However, I think it's only right. So the other day, I was in a mood, right? I was a bit frustrated. I don't know why. Sometimes you just got the blues. You know what I mean? You sometimes wanna. You're a bit stressed, which is normal, right? We all get stressed. We all need to get stressed at some point. It's part of life, right? And I just hadn't got a good routine. My sleep schedule was near to nothing. I think I was getting about 3 hours sleep, which wasn't too good. Don't worry, I fixed it in a night or two. But the point that was, I was just not in a good state, right? And then I thought, you know what? With the information I give to you guys is, I'd like to think it's beneficial. But the important part is that I also follow my own information, which at that exact time I was. Usually I do. However, at that time I was like, I don't feel good. This is this, and I was like, nah, forget what I said. Leave. I just really wasn't in a good state. But last night, I pulled myself out of it, right? Fully. I was like, you know what? Let's read everything. So I was on my notes on my iPhone. Like on, the Apple Notes. And I just wrote down, let me have a look. I just wrote down like 67 things, right? Like, I think it was more than that, actually. And it was just things I had to fix to get my life back on track, right? I know I sound like I'm a middle-aged man. But, just stuff I have to do to get me back into the zone. There was quite a few on there, it was different exercise stuff, my workouts. It was, literally everything. Remembering who I surround myself with, overall a lot of stuff. And then part of it was also posting starting an upload schedule, which I've already done. And it was that split second where I was like, you know what, let's do it. And in that split second, everything changed. Because I'd been able to go from not wanting to, move a muscle and just want to watch Netflix all day, to actually getting stuff done. And that is exactly what I'm telling you guys about. And I was in that state for about a day or two. I remember that song from the 80s. In a day or... Well, I'm not singing. But, in a day or two, whatever it goes. Anyway. But it was... Although it took 2 days... although I was in the state for 2 days, the actual decision to get out of it took only a second. And I think that's what people forget sometimes. Sometimes people think, oh, right, well, you're never annoyed. You're never this, you're never that. And if I say to someone, oh yeah, it takes a second to change your mood, I am not saying you're only going to be mad for a second. I am saying you could be mad for a week, you could be mad for a month. But the actual change takes a second. And I think that was a really important thing, because as soon as I did that, that was proof of concept, right? Because usually, I'm just in a joyful mood, over-motivated, and too ambitious. Joking, by the way. And I think at that point, I was like, you know what? It really, what I'm saying to you guys, it makes sense. It's working. It's helpful. which is important for me because I want to make sure that everything I do for you guys and the information I give out is actually beneficial to your day-to-day lives. And in that moment, I was like, oh yeah, that's it. But my a tip of the day, right? Tip of the day is one of the things I found out recently, which I'd done previously, but only recently found out that it's beneficial from day-to-day life, was listening to podcasts, right? So, I make this podcast, I do it, it's almost selfish because I love doing it, right? I'm not sure how much you guys enjoy listening to them. I know you guys do listen to them, so there's a certain extent. But it almost feels quite selfish because I really enjoy doing it. And I listen to a few of the podcasts, right? I listen to 3-4 other podcasts right now. One by Tony Robbins, some financial ones, and then two financial ones, a blockchain one, and then like a internet one, right? Like hacking technology software sort of one, which is quite interesting. I do like my computers. And the interesting part about that, especially the Tony Robbins one, right? I think Tony Robbins is brilliant. I've admired him for a good few years now. And, well, I'll say a good few years, like a year or two. And just being able to relax sometimes, right? Not being lazy, just to relax, to get your head back straight. That's why I think I love the podcast so much, because the same way you guys relax and listen to them is the same way I'm relaxing making it, if that makes any sense. Because your head every day is spinning, right? Whether it's work or school or college or whatever it is, right? Your head is constantly being filled with things and things to do and places to be. And then when you listen to a podcast, that gets taken away, right? Anything you were doing at the time, you're zoned out. You're in the zone itself, right? So I want you to do this. When you're listening to this podcast, I want you to think that you're in like your own bubble, right? If you listen to it with headphones, they're much better. But think of yourself as being in a bubble, right? Or your own little like area, right? And that area is in that area is the podcast and your thoughts, right? Well, not your thoughts on what's going on outside the box, the thoughts in the box, right? And the relaxation. And I realised by doing this, because I do it myself, right? When I listen to podcasts, especially the Tony Robbins one, which is why I mentioned it. In that mood, you sort of really just manage to appreciate not only where you are and who your friends and your family and everything. It's not because you're thinking about them. It's because you feel, when you're relaxed, you learn to appreciate things more, which I've definitely noticed. And so even if you are at work, right, still imagine being in that bubble, wherever you are, listen to it right now. Because I think that sense of closure, almost, and I'm not saying it's because of the podcast at all, that's not what I'm saying. That sounds big-headed for me. It's more because you can focus on what's important, right? So, almost like I'm a background noise. It's like, imagine having a conversation, right? I'm having a conversation with your thoughts. So, hi, hello back. I hope your head's saying hello back. And I'm having a conversation with your thoughts, right? And that's what it's like listening to a podcast. Because it feels one-on-one, it feels personal, it feels like a connection, like you're talking. Which is why it's so good. And anyone who's here right now is definitely listening to so thank you if you're even here right now. We're 18 minutes in, 19 now. To anyone who's listening, I appreciate that. But, think of it more as a conversation as opposed to as a listening task, right? Because that's what I love about podcasts. It's if you look at people out there, right, like wine tasters and whatnot, a word that tends to come up, or people who like art or whatever, right, is there are certain ways to appreciate things, right? Like if you're like you see food tasters and wine tasters and art exhibit, my voice keeps going, and art exhibits, they say in the same thing, there are always ways to enjoy it, and I think that's the same with a podcast or with motivational content. There are ways to enjoy it, and there are ways to not fully maximize your enjoyment experience. And what I just said by relaxing and imagine that bubble is probably the best way to harness that relaxation and to enjoy the actual podcast itself, right? It's like having a really relaxed, like being sat in the middle of the ocean, right? Just really calm. Well, that's just stranded. That's not very nice. It's not very nice being stranded. But if you're just really calm in the middle of the ocean, I think that's what it feels like. And the pictures I chose for the background of the True podcast, as you can see on screen now, I picked a guy with a bike, right, which just was, and they all resemble somewhat adventure. However, these are the pictures I have in my head when I think about what relaxation feels like, right? When the water looks like mist, a lot of mist is involved. I just realised every single picture has some form of mist. But I think it is because it gives you that, it gives you that that, I don't know, mist and relaxation sort of go hand in hand, don't they? That's interesting. But overall, I think, 100%, that's the best way to enjoy the podcast and enjoy life on a whole. So think of the podcast experience as being like life, right? And that's the way you have to enjoy it. You have to appreciate. And by appreciating, we are happy. And by happy, wow, how many times have I been over this in videos? By happy, you are loving, and by loving, you are happy, and by you're caring, and you're thoughtful, you're empathetic, you sympathise. Everything is involved when you are happy, and that's the way to enjoy life. You appreciate gratefulness. Hate to sound from Fast and Furious, but family, that's and friends and everything. I think that's what that's what you're appreciating. Damn, that got deep. Well, I already have everything planned for the second podcast. Well, from this one at least. So, if you guys did enjoy this, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on. We're very close to 100 subscribers. We're on 91 right now. So, if you guys would subscribe, that'd be very much appreciated. Have a good day. Keep smiling. If you would donate, that'd be very much appreciated. To the link down below for the disability software. Have a good day. Keep smiling. And I'll see you guys in a bit.